We're not starting.
We're just riffing. Are we ready to do it? Or do we want to do it?
Yeah, we do.
Well, hey there, hi there, ho there. This is oh god, what is it? What is it called, dude? Who know? No, it's Analytical Fanboys. We did Speed Racer today, and we're going to talk about it. But first, I think we should all introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Boingo Rider. Up next is
Hi, I'm the coolest person, Snowcone83, aka Cody.
Swap those names around, and you get their proper names. Hi, I'm Buster.
I mean, hey, here's the thing. We're very similar.
Yeah, you're two white boys from Florida. You got this.
Damn.
He found a box and put us in there.
Damn.
Sorry, yeah, society labeling white boys from Florida since the beginning of time.
Damn. You're attaching us to Moist Critical.
No, I didn't even know Moist Critical's from Florida. That's
Yeah.
I think it's like
that
Tampa?
makes too much sense.
Yep,
That makes too
Floridian.
much sense.
Yeah, he's from Tampa.
That makes too much sense. Anyway, Cody picked a pretty nice movie for us to watch today.
Yeah, Speed
sure
Racer
did.
by the Wachoskis.
Yeah. I have conceptual. Now, I like this movie like as a final product, but conceptually, I have kind of some like about it. Okay, because like this is kind of an esoteric movie concept when you break it down, because you're making a live-action American movie of a dub of an English dub of an animated show from Japan. That's a bit esoteric, like because that's like 3 levels of adaptation you're going through.
But you're not even like fully adapting it. There's also elements of other sports movies in here to kind of like not necessarily fill the gaps, but to kind of act as a foundation for
to streamline
what they're doing. Yeah, but go on, Codes.
I was gonna say like it's got a lot of like influences from like racing stuff too, but it kind of felt. Well, I'll try not to force my thoughts into like the end part of the podcast yet, but like it's more like or the way I see the movie always is like Speed Racer for me was always something that was around for like the Hanna-Barbera stuff. It was always like attached to it in some way. Every time I'd see like character cars like Ghostbuster, Speed Racer, Speed Buggy, Jabberjaw or whatever, the shark.
I totally get what you're saying, Cody, because like I remember having like a VHS of something like Tom and Jerry or some Looney Tune thing. May have been like Space Jam or something, and like it was a Scooby-Doo movie. It was a Scooby-Doo
Speed
movie.
also used to show. Speed would show it like it's like the car thing that I think was because it still got brought over here early in whenever it released. It still had a weird like love for it because of people who like cars. Like they do good. The original show does a very good job of like being a pretty correct and like decent like car based show.
Yeah.
Outside of being like just a wacky show.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's why it's always been like a pinnacle of like a connection of multiple interests and multiple people who normally wouldn't associate with things.
If you make a list of like the iconic cars of fictions, like Herbie's up there, Knight's up there, the Mach 5 is up there.
Yeah, Prime's truck.
But like, I did have some Speed Racer toys, and my mom talked fondly about it. And so when like everyone started gassing up this movie in like the late 2010s, I was like, okay. And then I watched it like a year ago, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think the thing is, and now we're just talking about the critical reception. It didn't do well, and I think a lot of people who saw what it was trying to do and enjoy it really gassed it up. And I wouldn't say it became overhyped. It just became like
a strong cult following.
It's very strong cult following. What I'm trying to get at is they really sold the good parts really well, but there are some bad parts of.
Oh yeah, okay. Can we? Okay, so we can spend the rest of the podcast being positive. Can I get my critiques out of the way?
Sure. I think there's a few. I definitely have a lot more to say than what I've already said about it.
So I have a problem with how this movie handles Japanese characters or like Asian characters.
Sure.
Because it's like Speed Racer, it's Japanese work. So I kind of don't like how like a lot of at least the primary Asian characters are treated. It's just A bit, especially given the Wachoskis' previous track record with that kind of thing,
Not
like
previous.
stuff like
Upcoming.
upcoming. Okay, I'm sorry. Cloud Atlas with Cloud. It's like this is kind of a precursor to their.
Here's the thing: I wouldn't call their overall work like it's not racist in the they hate people way. It is racist in the I don't see race way.
Yeah, and that's still problematic.
But like it's a different kind of problematic, and you don't have to be as and again I'm saying this as a white person. I don't feel as gross about it as if there's like malicious. It's very
it's
much
not malicious.
You
but it's
you
still,
are ignorant, but like come on.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like unless they say unless like something like if it was malicious, then like I don't know them personally, but like it's still based on that's a bit, especially given it's originally a Japanese property, so that kind of a treatment of Asian characters.
I mean, at what it is they just got sidelined.
So I went back and watched like some old Speed Racer after I watched the
dub
show
or
the
the Mach Go version.
I don't know. I found it on Amazon and it was just like the old Speed Racer cartoon. But man, some of the caricatures in that fucking show were pretty fucking rough, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, the dub. From what I mean, I'm sure also in the sub it's the print because I know.
I mean, it was subbed or it was dubbed. I mean, the voices didn't sound bad. It's just like the way they actually drew.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sparky, I think his name is.
Yeah,
Sparky had a different kind of vibe to him back in the day, and it was a similar vibe as character is concerned, but like.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, it's like it's nothing exclusive to this movie. It's just kind of especially because it's like you're kind of gonna run into that with like one person making a global series, like global like racing, because everyone in Speed Racers from all over the world. I feel like that's just kind of an inevitability.
And let's be honest, Japan hadn't gotten over stereotypes until like maybe the mid to late 90s.
Even then, there's but like that's a whole other conversation. That's like my main critique of the movie.
My main critique of the movie was there's like some of the Spritle jokes just weren't good.
Yeah,
Spritle,
the kid,
little
brother.
kid monkey.
Oh yeah, it's a kid. Yeah, I didn't really bother me. It's just
now, here's what I will fucking say again. I think this. I really do think this show like is or the movie is definitely going for a very specific version of like the Speed Racer. Like I think they're like straight up like going for the American like what like America knows Speed Racer to be.
They were not adapting.
It doesn't seem like it's too different, but
they were not adapting Speed Racer the anime. They were adapting everybody's memory of Speed Racer the anime.
Yeah. And honestly, there is. I do think that is a strength to this movie because it's not worried about like recapping arcs like other anime live action adaptation movies. It is just like focused on being a movie about Speed Racer instead of let's do like like a Ghost in the Shell movie where it would just that freaking terrible ass Ghost in the Shell movie where it just like does a straight adaptation
or in a more positive way. Alita Battle Angel.
Movie, all right.
Alita Battle Angel, yeah, because that was Alita Battle Angel just did the manga, but
and like cut out some and made the climax like another section of the manga.
Yeah,
for Alita Battle Angel, like visually it was like really nice. There was a lot of interesting shit going on with that, but like it was rough for me for the eyes of Alita herself.
Yeah. Well, in a way, I kind of think that's kind of the point because she is meant to be a little otherworldly and uncanny.
Yeah,
but that's a different thing.
Speaking of effects,
this is heavily stylized, and I think that's the point. And anybody saying that it doesn't look realistic is missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah, it's a great looking movie. But here's my thing with like people like who gas it up. I don't like. I get like. I feel like how there's like I feel like this is like I like the effects in this movie, but I feel like people who say it's better than like a comic book movie, like modern comic book movies, are like, no, this is like okay. If comic book movies are like the bad ones are too dark or like too like not dark, in terms of lighting, this is way too bright. And it can be some eye strain at times, but I do think it ultimately like works out because there's enough style and vision to it. So, yeah. I think like my ideal special effects, like in terms of a modern Hollywood, would be like somewhere in between this and like the typical comic book movie. I don't know. At least in terms of CG, because it's mostly a CG movie, like green screens, like cool like racing backdrops. It is a very visually striking movie, whether you like it or not. So
I mean, as was the style of the time.
yeah.
For me, I always like thought the way that they utilized light and color in this movie really helped make things feel a little faster.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
does. It's a fast movie, like, and
but
it should be
I
because it's like lots of racing.
yeah, no, I mean all the racing parts are pretty much like fantastic. There's a lot of like very specific things they get right too, like the crunch car or the black, I forget what they call him in this because they changed that a little bit. The bad guy, the main bad guy that they're going up against, or like the
Gray Ghost.
not Gray Ghost,
The
it's
racer.
something blockhead.
The mobster.
Yeah, and the mega truck or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Which was directly from an episode.
Yeah, that's from a specific episode, but like it's not the same guy driving it at all. And I don't know. I mean, like the people who they got to match up for like the characters that they've had throughout Speed Racer, it's oddly specifically correct for like the American cartoon. It feels like Spritle, for example, like going back and watching some of the cartoons and stuff like that, like sounds the same as that kid does in that, like that actor in that movie, like audibly sounds the same somehow.
Like I said, some of the Spritle bits were a little off for me. It wasn't that the kid was bad. The kid did a good job. It's just that some of the gags were a little too much.
Well, they felt too much like the original cartoon, and of like how the pacing was so awkward, whether it be because like they were trying to match things up to the animation or whatever, where they was just like, haha, oh, that's crazy.
The best example I can give is like the Spritle joke that's right at the end of the movie. It's just like, come on.
It also, like, I also probably didn't help that it was the end of the movie, or it's all big climactic and shit. So it's like you know,
but that again, it's a smaller issue. It's not something that completely derails the movie.
What do you think of the monkey boingo?
I feel at this point in time, I am very anti monkeys in movie.
Oh dang! No,
just knowing, just like
the animal cruelty and stuff.
It's animal cruelty, but it's also just like layers of safety, and it's just like at a certain point, just hire Andy Serkis.
Yes. Well, this was before those movies were like.
But it's just it's
at this like in modern day,
like horses, dogs, cats, fine. Those are a little bit more manageable. Monkeys are a little bit more unpredictable, and it's just.
Well, this was like whatever 2000s was peak monkeys are funny moments. So
yeah,
like this was a 2008 movie.
But we've talked a lot about like details and certain bits and bobs. The plot of the movie is pretty dead simple for like a sports flick.
Win the Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
They fuck up, or not fuck up, but they bring up a bunch of different types of racing in there because like they got Grand Prix, they got like rally racing, and they got like Formula racing, all kind of like mixed together, and they like borrow the rules and like the fans and styles from a lot of them. A lot of very car specific shit going on in the movie. I do always appreciate.
But it's also abstracted in a way for if you're not a car person to like, you don't need to know engines to get what's in. This is a big impressive thing, and this is a big impressive thing. They do different kinds of things. Oh, okay. Like you don't need to know fucking engines to get.
I didn't really need to know like that, but it is cool. Those details are there for people who want to like dig deep into it.
Oh no, this is complete sci-fi bullshit.
Yeah. Oh well, like I'm talking about for the car. Well, not like too deep, but like just like
car culture wise, it's
car culture. You know what I meant. Like,
well, I mean, for me, like the Mach 5 was always cool because like some of that stuff like is real. Like, I mean, not like they do technically have things like that make the cars jump. There's a few different ways it can be done, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm saying like the design of the Mach 5, like the OG Mach 5, not only has been done, but like in the 70s, which I mean, this movie again does pull a lot from the 70s aesthetics and like pop culture as well. But like in the 70s and 60s and 50s, they had cars looking like the Mach 5 for concept cars. And I think like the Ford, or might have been like the Chevy Cyclone, is kind of like almost looks like a prototype of a Mach 5. It's a jet engine car, but it's not quite the same thing. But I mean, it's just like little neat things like that. I still appreciate. The only thing that was like kind of awkward for me every time I watch the movie, it always has been, is like that scene where John Goodman's talking to Speed, and he's like, or he's talking about Speed whenever he's spun out in that one turn, and he's like, well, if he puts the combardinator in fifth gear, then he can jumpstart the whole thing. And I'm just like, I'm like, it was close. It was very close. I'm like, but it pulled me out of it just a little bit. Everything else they say throughout the entire movie is just kind of like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like
Like, yeah,
gobbledygook.
not even like that. It's not wrong or anything like that. It's just like, oh yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. Like car nonsense. Like, but
Accurate car nonsense.
Yeah.
I do. I'll just also. Is it just me? Like I'm like, or does like one of the big like CEO villain look like Tim Curry? I know he's not Tim Curry, but he has like a lot of.
I mean,
Tim Curry.
he's another big character actor.
Yeah, I forgot it. I can't find his name. Is it like Matthew Fox?
it's actually Kim Turry.
Kim. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, John Goodman, that guy, like those pretty interesting character actors in this movie. Like
the guy that got to play Speed did a good job.
Yeah, his name
did a
is
very good
Emil
job.
Hirsch. Yeah, I like him. And I do like honestly my favorite part of the movie is him and his little like thematic arc of like him pursuing his passions. I'm always a sucker for like kind of like passion fueled like main protagonists or like
Yeah.
like in terms of either creativity or their craft or their job, like for lack of a better word, SpongeBob ass characters. But like this one goes a little more deeper than a SpongeBob episode. So I've always found that interesting, like about this movie, just like his little thematic arc. And I know like a lot of people have related to that arc with like even associating it with like their own struggles and like, hey, that's great. I'm so glad you're able to get a lot out of it. I got some stuff out of it, even if like not as a lot of other people who like watched it as a kid or stuff.
The the highest point of fantasy for me for this film is just like the pure relationship with his father throughout the entire
Yeah,
movie.
it's very whimsical and like nice, like the John Goodman.
No, I love it. I love John Goodman so much in this. I've always loved his character.
Yeah,
Like his portrayal of like Pops. I just appreciate the fuck out of him in this movie. And I do get a lot out of like the talks they have and stuff like that.
and also I do. This is probably like also original source material, but I do like how this movie like emphasizes how you can be successful and still be with like connected to your family. Like I feel like a lot of movies are like not like anti-family, but still like, oh, if you're still living with your family, you're a bum or whatever. And I do appreciate how this movie like does emphasize family is important, or like can be like a backbone, and while still you could still be successful and pursue your own career while still keeping in touch with your family.
But it also like they also tap into that with Racer X and his whole arc.
Yeah.
Of trying to protect it and suffering the consequences is not being allowed to be in that, and the pain that he feels,
Yeah, Racer X is a great like thematic rival to Speed in this movie.
I mean, that's what he's always been presented as.
And
the thing about this movie is that it emphasized like, not saying the original cartoon is like doesn't have any of this. I'm just saying this movie like puts it a magnifying glass on it, and it like shows those details even more in like a very compelling story. I don't know.
To me, the most important thing, the thing that would have been scary to see anywhere else. They did not fuck up the Mach 5.
Oh yeah.
They didn't movify it. They didn't fucking Hollywood it. They didn't make it a Dodge Charger or a Ford Mustang or some other bullshit. It's just the actual. It's a Mach 5. It's not even like different enough to warrant like different models. It does. I mean, there are different Mach numbers throughout the movie. And it's cool to see like I think it was like the Mach 4. You see at the beginning, the all red.
Yeah.
Racer's X car looks pretty much like it always has.
The one that Rex drives and crashes.
Yeah. Even the Mach 6, I think it is, the one that's more like a Formula 1 car. That's actually pretty close to what they end the original cartoon in when they actually get to the Grand Prix. Like they pretty much did like a quick run of the entire like cartoon almost. Like a very shortened version of it. But like when they get to the Grand Prix, he's not driving the Mach 5 anymore, and it does kind of look like that. It's got like separated wheels, more like a Formula One car, but they got armor over it. Kind of more of a square car. I think the movie's final car is better than
The Mach
the
6?
others. Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't know. Like I always get scared whenever I see things like this that have like popular things, and I'm like, oh, I love the shape and design and like overall just essence of that thing. Can't wait to see what happens. Oh, they actually cared. Okay, thank.
Yeah.
Or like they at least fought for it. They fought and they succeeded at like getting the design like past the, because I feel like a lot. I'm learning this a lot as I get older and learn more about film production. A lot of the people who make these films want the things a lot of people complain about, but corporate
Yeah.
always gets in the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the people making the biggest decisions in Hollywood are not artists; they are investors.
Yeah, and they're like, this will make the most money.
And investors are also a highly uncreative bunch.
Yeah, they're just like, why does it need to be this way? And they don't understand the specific. No, that's a whole other rant. But yeah, I am like, even if it like, I'm glad. Like, I always love when a movie gets like. I know some people kind of like hating like the freaking like rehabilitation of bad movies or whatever. But for me, I always like sometimes yeah, it can be annoying, but I think in this case it's worth it because
Especially considering like a lot of the Wachowskis got really big because they did a lot of groundbreaking visual effects work for The Matrix.
Yeah, Matrix.
And I wouldn't say they went as hard with the effects for this. They were experimenting in a new field with digital set, but they also were like, hey, let's do some more stuff. And hold on, I'll get an example of what I'm talking about and show it to these guys and then describe it to you, the audience, because I care about you. But like, let's try and experiment with how we frame shots. And you get things like the fight scene in the mountains where they use snow to replicate speed lines from anime and manga. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really great. It's heavily stylized. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
And it does help and add to the effect of like, again, like this movie feels right a lot of the time. Like
I think okay, you know what? I'm gonna say something. I think Speed Racer wasn't supposed to be like the perfection of these visual effects. It was supposed to be something other films could be inspired by and take it further or in their own direction. And kind of like, you know, that's why I kind of like the rehabilitation of this movie. Like we're learning that like it's rough, but there's a lot of merit to it that like a lot of people can appreciate and like take on their own and like you know just art. I don't know, just because it's like an experiment and like sometimes you gotta learn from.
I do think though, like not only do I think like at its core this is a good movie, not like okay or moderate or whatever. But I think it's a good movie, whether it be biased or not. Like it's definitely a good car movie, and we could talk about some car movies someday because I got a long fucking list. Being a kid who's always been hyper fixated on like
Can't wait for
cars,
the
living
Herbie
cars,
video.
or oh yeah, we should do it one day. And they're good. Old Herbies are good. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, other stuff like that. You know, like I sometimes like popular media vehicles get to a point to where they are their own character.
Yeah.
Not quite to the level of like Knight Rider where like the car is an actual character, but like Mach 5, Ecto 1, the A-Team vehicle or the A-Team van, like those are thought to be their own separate entities, more important or just as important and interesting as the characters that drive them. But they are taken by themselves instead of just being like, oh, that's a thing. That's a thing over there. It's whatever. It's just part of it.
They put care into the cars, and you like that.
It's almost like Transformers is the next level of that want in media, because then it's just like, oh well, how about the character is the car? We found it. We did it.
Yeah.
Well, this came out like a year after the first Transformers movie. But then again, this movie was apparently in development hell since like 2006, where they finally like settled on Wachoskis. So
yeah, honestly, I think the Wachowskis were the right choice to do this.
Yeah, because experiment. They experimented with visual effects, and this is a very visual effects heavy like movie that experiments. Yeah.
we could talk about some of the toys if you want.
I think
Ooh.
I owned, like, when I mentioned I mainly knew Speed Racer from toys, I think I owned a tiny car from, like, the movie. I think I did.
More than likely, you owned one of the mini Hot Wheels toys.
No, it was a bigger car. It was like a pretty, like, I
Well,
don't
they
Hot
did
Wheels
have mid-scale, like 2-inch figure vehicles and like 3-inch figure
Let me look up the toys for this movie so I can
vehicles.
find the specific car.
There was a lot, and they had a whole Lego sub theme, and people have been begging for
For that
more
reprint.
ever since.
Oh,
Oh, I think I found
that
it.
makes me happy that it was beloved that much. You know.
Well, it's not even just that it was beloved that much. Like, I remember it being important at the time that like the vehicles that they did, it was Lego's first time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, this is
Doing,
I did own the Hot Wheels. I think I did own the Hot Wheels. Okay. Like I
but it,
didn't know because usually I associate Hot Wheels with smaller cars. I didn't know they did bigger cars.
oh yeah, no, they do all kinds. They always have. But anyways, like fuck, what was I saying?
Oh.
Well, here's the car I owned.
Oh yeah, it was a Lego. It was like the first time Lego did like 6 or 7 or 8 stud wide minifigure vehicles that looked really good with the minifigure and really good with the scale. And they did it a few times after that, and it kind of became a normal thing, and it bled over into like Space Police and other stuff like that. But people really freaked out about like the builds for Speed Racer, and also just like the main Mach 5 set was a good set. There was also a set with the red semi. There was a couple different like models of like or scales of like Hot Wheels toys. Some of them had little like click on like weapon features like the show shows you or the movie shows you. They had all kinds though. I forget who got the Happy Meal deal, but I know there was Happy Meal toys for that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, McDonald's only does Happy Meal. Let me look up Happy
No, I
Meals,
mean kids meal.
kids meals. Yeah, it was it was McDonald's. They got the kids meal toys.
That makes sense. They do good
Yeah,
with
here
Mattel.
is yeah, this movie, like, I don't, like, even though it was a flop, they really put a lot into like the cross promotion merchandise, and I think like, at
Because I
least
don't think they thought it was gonna be a flop.
yeah, they probably was like, yeah, it's Speed Racer, yeah, and but like, you know, I was gonna like finish that where it's like I think a lot of the the toy companies were the toy companies were ultimately satisfied because I know a lot of people did own that, and hey, the movie itself, not only has it got reacclaimed, but it showed a lot on Cartoon Network, so yeah,
Yeah.
at least it got those good TV and DVD deals. Over the years.
It's very much a movie that has found its place in its niche of it's not a so bad it's good movie. It's oh wait a second, hold on. This was actually good. It just wasn't doing what was popular at the time, so no one gave it a second look.
Yeah, and then like the kids who grew up with it on like Cartoon Network and shit are finally going on the internet and talking about how much they liked it. And even then, just people like older people who do like the movie, like Cody, are just they finally have a voice. So
Yeah, I mean, I was a pretty big fan of like the Speed Racer cartoon as a kid, anyways. I've always like been obsessed with like any kind of cartoon. But I've always had like a love for
yeah.
I can't remember how. I'm pretty sure it was the Speed Channel that I used to watch like reruns of Speed Racer on, but there was something that allowed me to watch like old Speed Racer stuff. I remember the Hub getting the new Speed Racer cartoon. There was it Speed Racer X?
Yeah, like the Nickelodeon one. I
The
think that
one
was
that
a
kind of
lot.
looks like Sonic X.
Let me
Looks
look
a little
up
bit more like some of the other Formula One like stylized anime.
Tokyo Speed Racer X. Is it this one or no? Let me look it up. Is it this one?
Let's see.
That doesn't look like that fucking looks like Cyber Formula GPX.
Yeah, this was a '90s 2002 series.
Which
I think
genuinely
that is it.
here's the thing. For a lot of the movie, the racing is a lot more highly stylized, a lot more Hot Wheely. My
Yeah,
brain, just knowing that it exists, was going like this feels like Cyber Formula.
Cyber Formula. Was that the Toonami thing, or am I?
No, this is Cyber Formula is a Sunrise anime.
Oh, I'm looking this up. Oh, I can see what you mean.
In the 90s, that was basically what if we had more weird extreme Speed Racer.
Yeah, it seems like it's one of those like Metabots or like kids like toy line anime that I really do dig. So I might check this out eventually. I do love me a good, yeah.
But like it has similar attitude of like having an international cast, big fancy races, a lot of technical aspects of the races, all that kind of stuff with this anime.
Yeah. I do also like the human character designs, but I think we might have squeezed all the blood out of our opinions. Do we have anything else?
No. There is something else I want to talk about because I want to bring it back to when this movie released and thinking about it.
Yeah, 2008.
This is probably the most emblematic of a trend that I don't think certain academics have probably talked about it, but certain like analytical people have probably. But this is very much like the epitome, the peak of maximalist mid 2000 family entertainment.
What other things would you include in that? Like
Spy Kids 3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that also ran on Cartoon Network a lot.
But you starting to piece together some of the bit some of the
it feels like that for sure. It feels like the writing.
I'm trying to think of what else came out in 2008.
Just any Robert Rodriguez kids film.
Any Robert, like Shark Boy Lava Girl, Spy Kids 3D, those kind of things.
I'm looking up 2008 films just as a reference.
Luke is a madman. Help us save us.
Yeah, Floop is a madman. Help us save us.
Yeah, but like, oh god, there's a lot of shit in 2008.
Yeah. Alvin and the Chipmunks is another thing I would like kind of like lump into this idea of just maximalist kids movies that are just very bright, very like a lot of things on screen. Tim Burton, Willy Wonka.
Yeah, G-Force.
G-Force.
But I feel like this one, like, compared to like the more ironic appeals of all those other movies, this one is more leans into the unironic and still has like something for all ages instead of just kids.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe with like
in a way too, but like you get what I'm saying. Like there was a definitive trend at the time of like let's just shove a bunch of shit on screen to wow audiences because we can do that now because we have cheaper CGI technology that we can do
like the technology's evolving, we want to like put more emphasis, like CGI movies are big deals, with Toy Story, Jurassic Park in the 90s, and now like those we're still like going into the like those kinds of styles of filmmaking we're still going into the 2000s, so it's like that is
you were gonna say something, Cody?
I was just gonna say probably complaining about Spritle again. Like I think with the Spritle parts, that's what makes it feel like it's reaching a little too much into like getting all different types of people interested. Like they stayed hyper focused through a lot of it, but like I think with stuff like that, that's when you start feeling like it's a little too racing movie and family movie and this and that and that.
It's a lot of things.
It's true to Speed Racer.
It's a melding pot of a lot of like there's things about like passion, there's things about racing, there's things about just family, and sometimes it gets a bit too lost in all that sauce, but like it's ultimately means well. So
there's some other little bits I just kind of want to mention because I think they're interesting. There was a reference to Fist of the North Star in this movie.
When
early on in the movie when Spritle and Chim Chim are watching
anime.
That was straight up Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
Like
makes sense. Those were like around the same time, so
no.
I think it is. No,
Not Go 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 is in the 60s.
Was 80s. My bad. So why did they reference Fist? Whatever. They just probably found it cool.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, that is straight up Fist of the North Star. Now looking at those clips, that is straight up Fist of the North Star.
And the other thing I want to mention, because I think it's fun, Cody was talking about car culture. When Spritle and Chim Chim are running around in the go-kart at the fucking office building, Freebird is playing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Freebird
for sure, but
Freebird Buster is a song by Leonard Skinner, really well known for its guitar solo, and a joke commonly associated with the guitar solo is you're gonna go if you play it while you're driving.
You
speed.
You
speed.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that it showed up as like, there's a car association with Freebird, and it's in the car movie. That's fun.
Yeah. It's just
Oh,
silly
it's
fun.
something because I noticed because I'm a music guy. The way they incorporated the Speed Racer melody into the score, brilliant, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Michael Giacchino, amazing composer. Yeah, and I'm going.
Michael
And
Al
actually, I was
Pacino.
kind of surprised that he was credited here. Just but like, hey, you gotta start somewhere. Actually, no, he already did Incredibles by that point. He was already a big deal.
And then he
You know what?
did,
That makes sense. That's the same. That works.
and you know
Yeah.
what? It totally also makes sense because Incredibles, a very 60s stylized
Family
like,
movie.
family movie. This is also very 60s. Look at the way a lot of the background characters are
Yeah.
dressed.
Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
more
well,
because of the cartoon
it's
and like source material.
Yeah, Trixie's
it pulls a
very
lot from
60s.
70s. It pulls a lot from like the specific. Well, a lot of the art style or a lot of the clothes in or I guess you say costumes in the Speed Racer cartoon were pretty much like just like 70s wacky racer almost style or death race style
Yeah.
70s outfits. I don't know. It does have one real car in it, like one real life actual car. It's a very specific, and I have no fucking idea how they got it in there. But Cannonball Taylor uh, gets out of it.
Oh yeah.
It's like a FSV or something like that. I thought it was a Tavares or whatever, the really weird purpley cars that are very specifically built and odd. They're European cars, or well, it might be European, but anyways, it's a very specific, like almost one of one car, and it's like, wow, the fact that it's on that set is weird and scary. Why is it here? I mean, it's otherworldly enough to know that or to like fit in the universe. It's just also a little weird to me because like they don't really show scenes of like other real cars other than the fact that Mach 5 was a real car because they made like 5 or 6 working replicas of it. I think they were just Corvette engines and stuff like that, though. It's a pretty fast engine.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at like the trivia. Some of this is not good.
Oh, yeah,
But
the animal cruelty.
no,
Yeah.
not animal cruelty. It's just like some things. It's like Henry Rollins was offered the role of Racer X in 1994. It's like okay, there's no claim and verifiable things
Oh, you mean like just random ass
on IMDb. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, this was apparently like all we do know is that it was in hell for a while. Like just the movie itself, like just the movie, the concept of a speed racer wasn't really solidified until 2006, despite it being in production since like 1992.
yeah.
It is what it is. We're like, hey, we have the movie now, or like, well, not now, but like a few decades ago at this point, a couple decades ago.
And I want how many live action anime films were being made just in general before this.
Let me Google this. I mean,
Before this, what you
we
saw
have
was like shit that was like, oh, this is an anime movie, but then like you would see the movie or the presentation, and there would be like the slimmest of pickings of like what would you say, like familiarity or like
Yeah,
resemblance,
like
and also Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball was a year after this.
No, there was a Thai Dragon Ball movie that was live action, but that doesn't count. That was unofficial.
Oh yeah, that was an unofficial production. I'm looking. We didn't
because
really see many. I guess like Guyver maybe, but that's more manga.
Guyver, there was a live action like Fist of the North Star, and of course Canadian Gundam.
Yeah, G Savior.
Could we definitively say with all of our certainty that this movie kind of gave the green light and understanding of like, oh wait a second, we can actually make anime live action stuff, and gave us the stuff like,
oh, okay, there was one
movie.
one other live action. This is from Japan, but still, the Devilman movie from 2004, infamously considered one of the worst movies of all time by those who
you know
have
what?
seen it.
Also that time,
What?
The Hideaki Anno Cutie Honey movie.
Oh, so it balances out. Okay.
Okay, so my thesis was coming at the idea of like this. This was like a seed planted of like, oh, you can be a little bit more ostentatious with making movies and adapting anime, you know?
Yeah, like probably this set up the foundation for like the One Piece live action would go to, probably. Because we're like, yeah, it can be a little bizarre, but like, it still like has its heart in the right place, and it's the changes it makes are to streamline everything as opposed to like make it just change for the sake of change. There's still a lot of bad ones. Like American Death Note is pretty bad.
I will say, still one of the best pieces of casting with Willem Dafoe.
That's why it sucks so much. That's why it sucks even harder because it's like you wasted that. No, whatever. But like still, like things are on the up and up for anime and manga adaptations. Even if not all of them will be big hits, but like not every. Sometimes, at least if it exposes people to the source material, then yeah, it is what it is. There actually is a live action Gintama movie. I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep,
That's based on a manga.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, would Edge of Tomorrow, would Live Die Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, would it exist if it wasn't for Speed Racer?
Probably not.
Those are really good Lego sets.
Yeah, those are some good. Yeah.
Honestly, those Speed Racer sets kind of inspired the current level of Lego Speed that we have.
Ooh.
But hopefully, now that we're getting character stuff in Lego Speed Champions, we'll get the fucking racers again, because the Mach 5, these Lego sets were like the predecessor to that style of like, yeah, here's a vehicle this size and it looks accurate to a screen thing. A lot of those toys are fun though. There's also a let me find the picture of the big truck. Yeah, there's a big truck.
So do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, you know what? You give your thoughts, Buster.
All right, I thought this was a pretty decent movie. Not the best movie ever, but I liked it. Like it's good. Of course, there's obvious problems, but it is what like those. I'm having fun, even if I am like maybe this is just a me thing. Probably as I get older, like the eye strain is a bit much at times. But it's still like a good like. I still think like we could learn a lot from it in terms of its special effects and like its tone. So
I agree.
Just letting it be sincere, adds a lot.
Yeah. Like it's sincerely goofy and passionate and all that. Yeah.
I think it's a good, solid movie. There are a couple bits that aren't fantastic, but that's every movie. Every movie has little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But its heart is in the right place. It wants to tell a good story of like just that sports underdog,
feel good
thing. But it's big, it's goofy, it's fun. Like I'm trying to think. There's like more recent movies that I don't think they would have the same visual flair that they have if it wasn't for stuff like Speed Racer.
Like indie or
like
blockbuster.
What was it? You know what? Redline, to an extent. I don't think Redline was at all influenced by this, but
similar vibes.
Yeah. By the way, if you like Speed Racer, people at home, watch Redline.
I want to watch Redline. I need to like sit down and like pull up Tubi and watch it.
2 years before the Speed Racer film came out, Herbie Fully Loaded came out.
Oh,
I don't know if that means anything, but
isn't that the last Herbie movie they made?
Yeah,
with Lindsay Lohan.
That was the movie that sealed the franchise into obscurity forever.
Dang it. I'm surprised they haven't brought it back with Disney's big reboots and shit. I don't know, whatever.
I'd be afraid. I would be afraid.
Yeah.
That's something so strong and core and near and dear to my heart that I don't want to see it bad again. That was like my first time of like, oh, this is something from my childhood, even though I'm a child right now. I can't wait to see what the next cool thing is going to be and how it's going to be just like all the other stuff I like. And it's like, oh, it fucking sucks. And Jeff Gordon's in there, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon meets Herbie, dude. That's the only cool thing about that whole movie.
Cody, do you want to like give your final thoughts on Speed Racer?
I will give my final thoughts on Speed Racer right now. I think this movie's great. I think John Goodman and all the other actors do a fantastic job. The sprite arts suck. They always have been cringy for me. Other than that, I think the vehicles and the visuals are automotive porn. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I would like this on Instagram if I had the opportunity to.
Hell yeah.
Just someone post the full movie on Instagram and just be like, oh, I like.
Yeah, Speed Racer, good. Give it a shot. Give it a watch.
Yeah, rent it on YouTube right now. Ooh. I don't know why I did the spooky.
Spooky because capitalism.
Oh, you have to pay $4. Ooh.
But the next choice, the next thing we got to do is a Buster pick. Hey, Buster, what are we doing next time?
Okay, so we're approaching the end of the year because the next episode is 100% coming out in December. we're not going to do anything Christmas related. I'm going to put that right now. But, it's been a hard, long year. I kind of just want to share one of my favorite things of all time. So, we're going to read the webcomic, Matchmaker. Get the
My
link.
heart dropped when you said webcomic. I thought you were going to make us read fucking
Yeah.
the pale skinned people with the little candy corn horns on their heads.
Oh,
Homestuck.
Homestuck.
I am not a Homestuck fan. I do sound like one, I'll be real. I do kind of... a lot of my friends are Homestuck fans, unfortunately, so...
A lot of my friends were Homestuck fans as well.
No, this is a webcomic. I don't want to say too much about it. It doesn't, it's a very simplistic slice of life comedy webcomic, that I really love, that made me connect with my friends a lot. And it is, you could buy a physical version if you so choose, but you can read all of it digitally. It is 232 pages.
Oh my god.
That
sounds
one
fun.
page will be like a minute, so it's like a
232 minutes.
Damn. In the course of a month, slave driver. That's what you are.
But yeah, I do own this physically. I might talk about some of the additions the physical version adds. We'll see. But yeah, your mission is to read the whole webcomic, and we'll discuss it next month.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
This has been Analytical Fanboys. I hope you enjoyed your time here. We enjoyed our time here.
Yeah.
Buster, say where people can find you.
Buster Corp YouTube channel and Bluesky pages. I don't really have anything to promote right now. I'm kind of just doing whatever, so. But as we approach the end of the year, more videos will come out, so.
Hell yeah. Cody, where can people find you?
Never_robot on instant gramification, where I'd forget to post pictures of toys.
Hell yeah. And I am Boingo Writer. You can find me on YouTube at Boingo Writer and Twitch at /Boingo Writer. And Blue Sky at Boingo Writer. Hell's bells. If you like this podcast, please remember to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube upload, and follow us on podcasting platforms of your choice. Yeah, so you can keep up to date on this and other type things. Next month, we will be discussing Matchmaker. And until then, we got anything else we want to say?
Who up speeding their racer?
Straight up speeding my racer.
Speed my racer till I go.
Speed my racer till I go.
On my Mach 5 till I
Chim.
ejecto seat, cuz.
All right.
Fast enough.